Over now to Matt Ward-Perkins.
Community and Wellbeing Officer. The Community and Wellbeing Officer represents students on issues affecting their well-being, such as health, finance, accommodation and security, as well as wider community issues. The Community and Wellbeing Officer is key to ensuring that students from a range of backgrounds and minority groups are represented within the university. They also ensure that students are represented fairly within the local community, liaising with both town and parish council officials.
Hi there, my name is Brooke and I am the editor of York Vision, and I'm here with Your Babe Rokas, who is running for Community and Wellbeing Officer. So I have to ask first, why the name choice?
Hi, Eva, thank you for having me. I mean, quite simply, I wanted to sound familiar to students. I did not want to portray myself as someone distant from everyone on campus or all over the world this year. So just wanted to show that closeness to all the students.
Lovely. I'm looking through your manifesto now, so I'm seeing phrases that have cropped up for like the last few years, such as rent rant, bustis, talks of circuit laundry again. So the things like rent rant and bustis, they were first brought up with like Steph Hale, who was first elected in 2018. So it's been going on for quite a long time. What do you bring to kind of these campaigns, which is new?
So these campaigns have, as you said, started a couple of years ago. And, these sort of issues, which are in the main focus of my manifesto, are the issues which students been facing, well, for decades, and they are still very relevant. And the campaigns, as mentioned, have achieved some very, very important progress, but they just need to be continued. And I do not really, I do not really propose to bring something new to them. What I really want to do is just to continue building up the momentum around those campaigns, continuing to increase the volume on what students have to say around these issues, and just being that figure there who is persistent and does not stop. So just continuing the momentum, really, and that's what I would bring essentially. I cannot invent anything new. It's just continuing the lobbying and standing strong when talking about these difficult issues.
Lovely. So another key thing that's been quite prominent, especially with the role of Community and Wellbeing Officer, has been students' mental health, which has been exacerbated by COVID and students being in isolation. What's the first thing you intend on doing with the mental health aspect of your role?
So mental health I actually put as my first point, because for me personally, it did seem like, number one priority, especially after a year like this. So essentially my two key, focus areas were on well-being skills, introducing this kind of online course where students would be able to gain all those sorts of skills like time management, anxiety management, social anxiety, procrastination, all those sorts of things. And I would like all the students to be able to gain those skills in their first year and then continue to develop throughout the years. We have already plenty of useful resources. It's just more about using them efficiently and putting them in a systematic format. And another point is on open doors, which again is almost a buzzword with anyone who runs for this role. but I acknowledge all the work which has been done with it. And over the last 5 years, oh my God, the improvement we have seen is really, yeah, it's big. So I just want to continue with that and ensure that students are being listened. There has been secured more funding for it. So we just need to make sure that that funding actually benefits the students.
So you've also looked at the financial situations of students. How would you describe the university and USU's response to financial hardship so far?
I think this year, university has shown a lot of support comparatively to other universities. I think, you know, the amount of hardship funds and funds for IT technologies as well, which has been available this year and quite easily accessible to a lot of students, that I think is very a very good thing, which has been done this year.
What's made you focus on EU and international students in your manifesto in regards to financial situations?
I think it, well, mostly was just because of Brexit is happening, and you know, we're not really sure what's going to happen, but I want to do my best to ensure that EU students and international students are being able to study in this university if they come from maybe a lower income family, because I think we really do benefit as a community of University of York of having as much of diversity as possible. And if the further, you know, aftermath of Brexit will hinder this, it would be really a shame. So I want university to be proactive of this, and I'm willing to lobby for it to ensure that it is in place.
Yeah, just going back to the topic of mental health. So a big thing that, well, it would come under the community and wellbeing role anyway, but it is about creating this community. And something that will probably help mental health is getting this kind of like student engagement with one another. How will you go about kind of creating, maybe not necessarily one big community, but smaller communities for students to meet and for students to kind of get out of isolation and kind of feel more like within a group?
I think it's a very good question, and something which is definitely really important to consider seriously on all levels of university, to consider it in colleges, on the whole university level, and then maybe in individual departments as well, which is I'm sure academic officer will be working on that. So I think it's more about working with all these different groups, working with our liberation networks and PTOs and societies, which we, you know, York is so rich with all these different societies we have, and listening to students on what they want to see. But I think this is something which really needs to be thought of carefully, because isolation has really had a negative impact on students' well-being and mental health.
Just very quickly, so one point in your manifesto was you want to look at improving the relationship with City of York Council. What relationship there do you think kind of needs improving, and what would you like to see from that?
I think the biggest progress I would like to see is just involving the student body more into the city, and not seeing it as two separate entities. And I think that's a development which will most likely be going forward in the next few years or decade. It's something which is being talked about, and is talked about in university strategy as well for the next decade. So I just would want to bring students' voice in that.
Lovely. So I'm having to cut you off there, but we'll next go to Perkin for his interview with Community and Wellbeing.
Thank you.
Community and Wellbeing Officer